still waiting your answers, I think now it's time to introduce our panelists. And maybe we start with Arja.
Okay, you hear me? So thank you for invitation. My name is Arja Martikainen, and I have a long history in gaming. I started in 2004 in a small company called Sumea Interactive, which became Digital Chocolate, and you know how it all ended. So DC was closed in 2013, but ever since I've been working for Barana IT, and I was already at the time part of a client of GamePro program, and while joining Barana, I also became one of the project managers of GamePro, so there may be even people that I have been matching to gaming companies. And also while joining Barana in 2014, I found Games Jobs Finland, so if you are receiving each morning job newsletter, so it is coming from my small service for the gaming companies. I'm active still with games recruitment and so forth.
Thank you, Arja. My name is Taina Myöhänen. I'm the chairperson of Women in Games Finland that was established this year. So we are a pretty new organization as a registered organization. I also work as a chief operating officer in Secret Exit. I've been more than 10 years in games. I can't remember when I started, maybe 2006, maybe. Okay, might be, sorry. My bad maths. So I've seen this industry to grow and start from the really from small companies and now being what it is nowadays. That is very interesting from my point of view. Also about Women in Games Finland, we want to press more diversity and inclusiveness to this industry at the moment. Thank you.
All right, my turn. Thank you, Taina and Arja. And also thank you for having me tonight. My name is Natasha. I have multiple hats, so I will try to squeeze a few most important tonight. As a day job, I'm a founder and CEO, creative director of MyTale Games in Turku. And otherwise, as a real believer in a community, especially Finnish gaming community, is absolutely unique in so many levels. I'm a chairperson of IGDA Finland, and also founder and chairperson of Hive Turku Game Hub that has been already running for 3 years, and apparently going forward, growing quite steadily and nicely. So I'm very proud of our Southwest Finland industry development. My background is very colorful when it comes to know-how and kind of what I have been doing. My actual education is in classical arts, if you may believe. But as a hardcore gamer, I have been doing both digital and classical art techniques and development before switching completely to games, even that I have, the PhD studies in art history. Games are, at the end of the day, what my heart goes for and where I am. So I'm also teaching game art and game design at University of Turku, and I'm really looking forward to hear more questions from the audience who are actually hopefully studying games and game development, which I think there's lots of students tonight here. So yeah, that's about me. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Veli-Pekka Piirainen. I'm from Kajaani, Finland. It's nice to be here. I can see some familiar faces. It seems that there's a new generation coming to IGDA evenings, so I don't know so many of you. At the moment, I am chairman of the board at Critical Force. My career started already in 1985 when I started as a software engineer, making 3D modeling software for architects and engineers. And after being 18 years as a programmer and software engineer, I switched to an academic career. I started to teach programming at Kajaani University of Applied Sciences. So I wasn't working in Kajaani all the time, so I studied in Oulu, I worked in Helsinki, then I worked 4 years in Germany, and then I came back to Finland and ended back to my home area where I was born. So at the Kajaani University, I started to think more about how we could get more, let's say, students who are interested in programming. And then I founded game development curriculum at Kajaani University. It was 2006, actually. And then I worked at Supercell 2011-2012. I was a studio manager at Supercell North, which was a small office in Kajaani. And actually we made the very first mobile game for Supercell called Pets vs. Orcs, which was soft launched in Australia and in New Zealand. But it didn't come so successful, so the game was killed, and also the studio was then also closed. So after that, I founded Critical Force 2012 and led the company as a CEO until this year, February. And so 7 long years. And that was a kind of story of bootstrapping and becoming successful and then having similar problems that many companies have who got investment and spent the money. I can tell more about that. But now it's going great. We are making much better results than ever so far. So we are also opening an office here in Helsinki next month. And yeah, so I had a 4-month sabbatical leave from May until end of last month. So I'm now very well rested. And I'm continuing as chairman of the board and also make like own consulting work and let's say downshifting little by little. So I'm already a relic old guy here in the games industry, so it's time to.
We are so young.
Okay, that's about me.
Thank you. And now we see up there that who we have here in the audience. 78 people answered that. That's nice. Many different companies and schools. Yeah. And because of our panel is about education and training, and of course we are going to hear some success stories after the education and training talk. Now we are going to have a new question to the audience, so be ready. Yeah. Now, answer this. Do you have a game industry related education? And now you can pick one of the answers there.
So I can start?
Actually, yeah. What have you studied?
Oh, okay, I start. So I studied at Oulu University, engineering, and actually my major was building economics. Okay. So my goal was to become a big boss in the building industry. But in the beginning I got hooked with programming, and I started programming by myself mostly. And after second year already I was working in the software industry. And that's my way. So I was a programmer actually, but my education was nothing related with programming or whatever. But at least it was good because as a side project I have had a construction company with my brother already over 20 years. So we have built over 500 apartments in the Kajaani area, and also many other like hotels and daycare centers or whatever. So building business is my second thing.
Can I go first? Yeah. Second, sorry. I have 2 masters. One is from Helsinki University. I have a master's from Finnish folklore, which is very important for this gaming business. And then I have masters from former Taideteollinen Korkeakoulu, which is nowadays part of Aalto University, from Media Lab there, which is more related about the games, but we didn't have anything game-related education back time. I'm that old. So probably if there would have been, I would have gone, but we didn't have.
Okay. Actually, we can see that 37% of you guys are self-learned. So this says a lot.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. I have a background in social sciences. I have a master's degree at the University of Joensuu. My major was political science, then sociology, national economics, and I've done tons of languages. And then I also have a postgraduate degree from France, from University Nancy 2. So kind of like background was like very nicely matching to my administrative work that I've been doing, and I'm also like crazy interested in people, since one of my subjects was sociology, and then I can also like do hiring and firing in French, so that's proven.
More language is better, yeah. Okay, so I have my master's degree in classical arts, actually in classical wall painting techniques. So I attended State Academy in Belgrade, Serbia, which is very prestigious academy of traditional painting techniques, to which doesn't mean that necessarily it's just realistic and this kind of boring things that you Finns might think, also contemporary art and all that, but it's about methodology and methods. How do you do this? And I also did my teacher studies because I always wanted to be a teacher. So that's my master's. So I've been doing frescoes, graffiti, mosaic, wall art in my previous life, as it comes. And then here in Finland, I've been doing doctoral studies at art history department and museology about art replicas and museum copies, which again has nothing to do with games. However, during my academic, this sort of like studies, especially during university studies, because I have been also in high school. We have these specific, like specialized high schools also in Belgrade when it comes to specific topics, let's say mathematics, which usually goes to programming and so on afterwards, or design. We had high school of design where you can choose your path already early on if you are talented and interested in specific things. And that's where I did graphic design. So I have been working as a graphic designer during my academy studies as well. And since we don't have Kela and we don't have, it's basically, family supports, and also, well, I'm a workaholic. I always love working. So I've been working as a graphic designer. To which, again, digital and classical were always hand in hand in my approach. Plus, being a hardcore gamer since very early age, my parents are gamers, so I grew up with all of that around me. And no, they are not working in games or anything like that. My father finished law school, and my mom is a writer, so it's like nothing to do, just nerds. But I grew up with that, and being with games was my biggest passion, and I would always rather stay home and play games than actually be outside. However, now, with all this know-how, and this is something that I really want to share with you guys, that I started actually working with the game companies as a freelancer, because I had in my know-how, digitally, I could do anything the company needs, from the pixel art to hyper-realistic concept art or whatever else needed, because that's what I'm trained for. And also animation, especially 2D. So, and I stayed with that, even that I can do 3D if necessary, but I stay with what I'm most confident and most, the best at, which is 2D. So that's how I started my career, and then slowly, that's the thing, when you avoid being business person your whole life, because I have daddy issues, my father is hardcore businessman, I hate that whole thing. But blood is not water, so you end up doing business. And I'm apparently good at that, and here I am, an artist doing business. And same with the games, even though the games are my biggest passion, and I switched my career fully, especially during doctoral studies, in that sense that I saw so much that we can do also, because games are a multidisciplinary approach in development. We need not just programmers, no offense, but we need everyone, everything, every single, especially humanist, because games, no one knows or cares about what code is. Code makes it happen. Yeah, it does its magic. But experiences that come out of games that we as gamers enjoy are humanist stuff. So, so we need everyone. We need, you know, all possible kind of geography, biology, folklore, all of it. Especially think about Kalevala and all of this, that it's all based. So we need experts from various fields. And that's where I really wish to highlight that no matter what you have been studying, also what your hobbies and passions are a big part of your professional development as well. So don't just take it this sort of like, yeah, it would be great if there was also in Belgrade as the academy level that I could do, you know, game development. But I'm happy that I have this know-how from completely different discipline that I can now give forward about teaching game art, like teaching art, how, like, let's say human anatomy, how do you deal with character design, how do you deal with environment design and so forth forward. So I'm very happy that I have that privilege to share my knowledge, because that is not taught in any university of game education at all in Finland. I mean, how many of you are here studying in university of any across Finland? Doesn't matter. Game studies. And do you have, let's say, figure drawing and this sort of? You have. All right. Do you have environment construct and this sort of composition sort of as a specific thing? Like what? Do you have semiotics? How do you use color, shapes, and all other? Yeah, exactly. So this is where the art history comes in, semiotics, and especially in my doctorate when it comes to art copies, IP and copyright law is very important there. And guess what? It's the same law that we have in games. So now when I'm working with a third-party IP, like previous, mostly you know about my work in Moomins, but I work with other IPs as well, it's very useful because I know exactly what is okay and not okay to do with the brand. So this is what I mean. Don't worry about necessarily when you're approaching with your career, like where you go, what you have been studying. It's also what your interests are, what you do, and you can always... It's all about multidisciplinary, so you will find your spot. And then when you find something that you're really passionate about, grab it, go for it, and just don't take no for an answer. And I will shut up now.
Thank you. That was good speech. But as we know that there are many ways to get involved in gaming industry, and education training has turned into a multi-platform opportunities. You can study online, you can have a 12-week boot camp, or go by the long road. But it hasn't always been like that. It has evolved, and which is great. And big thanks to that is also to you, everyone there, right now. But we asked our community some questions beforehand, so now it's time for the first community question to you. This is a hard one. Yeah, prepare. So, do you think that we should start teaching programming already in primary school?
Yes.
Yes.
My kid is already 10-year-old already.
What do you say, Veli-Pekka?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
It's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. So another question from the community. Games are a wonderful medium to tell stories, and still we definitely are lacking education on game writing and narrative design in Finland.
Yes.
This could be something Finland could also be leading in. So how is game education in Finland answering to this, or is considered secondary or even less important? What do you guys think?
That's a hard question. We still lack this, in my opinion. We don't have the education for that. We do have education related to these kind of things, but we are not connected that much. But it's growing. I see people having these titles related nowadays, which didn't work like 10 years ago.
I remember when we were in the old company selling like our ideas to the international investors, or like they were coming to us like, why do you make so fabulous games? And one of the design directors, he invented his like regular answer, no, well, we are Finns, and you know we have Kalevala, so naturally we can like put together something. So it comes naturally. So even if we do not have it, but it's like, of course, like if you are literally talented, if you can combine things, if you can create, it's still very, very important that you can read and write and you can do a great sentence and then make some imaginary stories. And so I see very often as a recruiter people that can't even get their CV right. So what can you expect? People are dreaming of like becoming a game designer or something. If you can't write a simple sentence in Finnish, how you can write simple sentence in English? You need to be able to pitch in any moment, in any situation, and write fabulous text.
Yeah, so my opinion is that we don't need to separate education for game writers. It would be better that there's universities who are already teaching writing and literature, that students can specialize there if they want, also in game writing. Because thinking about how many game writers Finnish game industry actually needs, it's not many. Because mostly we are making mobile games, there's no stories. There's only couple of game companies having or making games with stories and so on.
You're poking me.
Natasha says otherwise.
But that's true.
This is
that's
exactly
true.
what my tale
If
does.
you're making puzzle games or whatever, simple mobile games, you don't need
there could be
stories.
the narrative design can be found even in a bloody Pong game.
Yes.
That's the whole thing. We are talking here about narrative design, and narrative design is not walls of text. It's about the experience and the relationships that happen on the screen, within the screen, and with the player. There's a lot of, but one thing. Well, if you wanted to, I'll tell more about what's happening actually.
But as I said, that if there's like a university which has game development studies there, they need one specific teacher just for game writing for 2-3 students. So it's not possible. So as I said, it's better that those universities who are teaching literature and writing should have maybe a teacher who is interested in games and stories in games, and also give the students possibility to specialize, learn by themselves with some advice. That's my answer.
I fully agree on that. There is no need to have, what I would suggest and what I see there is a huge need is collaboration between different departments. Because that is the thing. There are, let's say, my partner is a game designer and he has doctorate in English literature, which is very useful when it comes to, life skills. But when it comes to game narrative design and all that, that is exactly what we need. And so empowering departments or students to actually explore outside of their safe zone, which, let's say, is like, say, creative writing. How about you do that now in collaboration with the team from IMCO, wherever, or software developers, whichever department or university you want to have. But the point is that to have this, especially for the master studies and so on, you have more freedom to do, to actually empower your students to go outside and really see what may fit them. That would be, in my view, something that we should really work on. Because Jouni Smed, professor at University of Turku, has been dealing with interactive storytelling as a topic, and he is hardcore programmer software developer, like to his bone. And he has been fighting for that sort of like, because that is something that is extremely important, again, for the experiences, for all that games provide. Because it's not just entertainment. I mean, games are all around us, and our whole lives are gamified. So basically, having, again, that know-how used outside of just entertainment, but also with education, edu games, all in all serious games, healthcare, engineering, and so on, that we utilize gamification with. So that I see a huge potential and something that definitely we, with the know-how in Finland, should pursue more.
But anyway, I don't have anything against writing and storytelling and so on, but there's a realism that those small game companies which are making mobile games, they really cannot hire any game writer or whatever making the stories. They can make them by themselves if they can, or using freelance service. And I asked when I worked at Kajaani University, when we were planning that what kind of studies game designer should have, and as is the storytelling and writing very important. So one very successful Finnish game designer told me that it's much more important to teach them gameplay design, balancing of the game, and that kind of things. So not the writing and stories are not the hardcore game designer's work. It's writer's job. Like Remedy has Sami Järvi is a great guy making the stories, and some companies also, but the need is not there.
Yet.
Yet.
Is coming.
Okay, before Andrea asks the next question from the panelists, we are going to ask you, the audience, through the Mentimeter app. And the question is, yes, what is your position? What are you? But now while you're answering.
Yes. The next question for you guys. Yes, while we are waiting so people can answer.
Exciting.
Yes. How has the job market situation changed during the years when people have more higher education? Maybe this one is targeted to you, Arja.
Can you repeat?
So how has the job market situation changed during this year when people have more higher education? Like now there's more competition.
Yeah, I think that in general the situation has changed, like that people actually have games education. Like I can see more and more CVs of people that have been studying gaming. And I remember like starting in 2004, it was like practically unexisting in Finland that there were like this, like some of these brave people that started to found this gaming courses like him. I'm still very grateful for him because he saved my ass at DC, starting to send people from Kajaani to Helsinki, yeah, it has changed. So like I see more and more like people that have actual education, but it's not that you need to have a gaming industry course behind in your back pocket. I think that still what values is that you have gaming as a hobby and you show sincere interest and passion to it. There are so many ways to collect or get the basics that you would need. And I think that one of the things, even I see like people that come from gaming the schools that have trained gaming, and they haven't published a single work. That is very important. It is like you need to publish something, and this is a big improvement in Finland that like Kayak started already this cooperative, and students, they can push out like 4 to 5 games like during their studies. That's what you can call a portfolio. And I remember like teaching already like for 15 years or so, get the portfolio, put something down that you show that you have done something, even as a hobby. Okay.
If I may give just one thing about market. Can I? Market changes constantly. So this is the thing, like, I think the most important thing is to have in mind that we are all, every single one of us, learning every single day. So just because you did some, let's say, degree, and yes, there is higher competition definitely out there now than ever before when it comes to games, but just having the right attitude, that be open-minded, try new things, and be ready to learn, because also as a recruiter you want candidates that are not necessarily, doesn't need to be senior or already all-knowing, but the attitude that, yeah, because things change, devices change, everything changes, you have to be constantly up to date and try stuff around. So having that attitude that it's not something just puts you there and like you think you know the best. No, because world goes forward. No one cares what has been even a year ago out there, not mentioning 5 years ago. That's already ancient, especially in gaming. So just be open for that. So it's a mindset, pretty much.
Yeah, so I can add a few words. So the game education has helped Finnish game industry a lot, because industry has got lots of new educated talent which are used to make games already. So for example, students who have studied at Kajaani University, they have already made games, published games in a team, so teamwork is known, the tools are known. Only thing they have to improve is the personal skills, getting better in programming, getting better in arts, and so on. So it has definitely helped a lot.
Good. Yeah, now we can see that, well, most of the audience, they are students, and 22% something else. I would love to hear what is something else. But yeah, we're going to soon have a new question to the audience, and the same question will come to you also, to panelists. But, oh, yeah, is it the right one?
Yes.
Oops. I have, but my table is full of papers, all my sticky notes and stuff, and they are messed up right now. Yeah, you can continue.
Okay. So while you are answering to this, maybe we can get to a question. Regarding the training situation right now in Finland, what do you guys think? Should the training be free of charge? What type of authority would be good? Maybe like to be present in the training, like maybe famous speakers, professors, big companies involved. What do you think? Like, does premises matter when you're going to a training event? Does food, coffee, like all this stuff? What do you think?
Yeah, so the question is, what learning method do you prefer? So, in a personal way of learning, I prefer learning by doing. So, just reading books, it's not enough. You have to make things by yourself. But in those, this is pretty hard. So, Game Jam is one of the learning by doing methods, one of the best. And of course, having an education in some institution is also good if it's learning by doing. Online learning is good. There's lots of good material, internet, lots of free courses, video courses, books, whatever. So that's also one of my favorites.
I would like to have a word for that. I think is the personal choice. So what works for one person doesn't work for the other. So whatever is the best way to learn, use it.
Yeah, I got this. I like to get dirty just like him, so I just get things done. And that's pretty much learning by doing, because that's the only way. Online courses definitely, or material, any kind of material that you can get online or anywhere else. I mean, libraries are out there, if nothing else. And libraries have a lot of also digital and newest also published books, especially when it comes to game art and so forth. So, but with the online stuff, what I have noticed also with students, that they would just watch stuff. I would always push them to have two screens if possible. So have, watch on one side and do exactly what is happening in the tutorial by yourself, even if it's, simple thing and you think, oh, you got it. Do it, because that's the whole thing. It's not just watching, but also doing while watching. So that's one of the things that, but yeah, I just get things done.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so my personal story was when I was young, there were no computers available. There were just big mainframe computers. And when I was a kid, I was thinking computers are similar as in Star Trek, that they know everything and you can just ask and so on. But my first touch in programming was when I started studying at Oulu University. And they were teaching Fortran programming, and it was kind of difficult for me. So I was thinking that, oh boy, this course is going to be very hard. But I bought like a programmable calculator. It was basic programmable calculator, and I got a thick book of different kind of source code. I just copied and learned the syntax, and then I realized that this is actually easy and this is fun. And after that, passing the Fortran course was pretty easy for me. So I didn't learn programming at the university. I learned it by myself because I was very keen to it, and I wanted to solve mathematical problems with my calculator by making small programs. So it started. So learning by doing.
And I can say that, like, when you are a young professional, you need to make a lot of extra effort to learn and kind of like raise the level of your expertise. During the first years, it's just like do on and on and on, and then later on when it gets like easier, so then you can maybe get like a little bit of shortcuts because you are much more experienced. But as a recruiter, I always like appreciate the answers, and I also know that my customers are looking for those people that for example, that can like say sincerely that, okay, if the question is, do you program at home? Do you do something at home? Yes, I do. This is also like my hobby. Or then if you're an artist, so that the best artists in gaming actually, they draw living models and such, like they also like do it with their hand, not just with the computer and so forth. So it's a combination. You can learn the like basics at school and doing this and that, but like then keep on rehearsing and keep on like getting input from other areas. Taina wants to add.
I really want to add, I so much agree when it comes to art, when it comes to programming, but when it comes to management, I think read, don't, hit your head in every problem that somebody else has been facing already. I think for management, for leading a team, you can learn quite a lot by reading, by studying, by talking with the others. You don't have to do everything and every mistakes by yourself.
Yeah, I can continue also. So that's a practically way that most of the Finnish game industry veterans have started. They had this VIC-20 or Commodore 64, sorry, and they had lots of written code in basic code in Pelican Casino, what microbit, and they copied. So we started, and actually I bought my very first PC in 1985. It was like a IBM AT compatible computer, the 80286 processor, and I was very eager to learn also C programming. So I grabbed that computer during my Christmas holidays back home, and I studied in 2 weeks C language, and later similar way, studying C++ by myself, studying C# by myself, and that's like a continuous story. I also learned Java, but I never liked it. It was crap. Probably many have same attitude as me. Yeah, but so it goes. So you just have to craft things and start to make.
I just need to ask Arja, when it gets easier? I'm still far from that. Like when...
When you are my age.
That's bad.
You need to wait for another 30 years, babe.
Okay, so you were mentioning about online courses and self-study, but one question for you, Veli. You actually participated in some training. How was your experience, for example, with the game executive? Could you share that? Like, also, of course, online training and, like learning by yourself, I think is very important, but how do we make people coming together and profit from networking and this type of trainings?
Yeah, so I attended this game executive training, I think it was 2014. I think it was the second one. And it was like 2-3 days here in Helsinki every week or every second week. And I found it useful. Of course, the content of the course was like for people who haven't run game studio, game business. So I already had like a 2 years experience on that, or 3 years practically. So there were many things that were easy for me, I knew already, but lots of new things also. So it was partly very, very useful, and especially all the talks made by game industry professionals I found very useful. Some of the courses or talks made by the Aalto University professors were good, some not, depending on the course. For example, one very useful was this accounting course there. And
we actually have this year as well an accounting course. So yes, with one of our accounting professors.
I like that. So I don't know how the game executive course has evolved lately, what is the content and so on, so I cannot say how it's nowadays. But that time, 2014, it was useful for me.
Thank you so much. Okay, so we were going to move into our second topic, challenges and benefits in the Finnish game industry. And I will introduce the topic. So basically, the shortage of experts is bigger than the shortage of workers. How to find the right balance between the juniors and the seniors? Do you need to attract more people from different fields and backgrounds? What do you think? How to balance the difference of having seniors and juniors, basically?
I can start. Yeah, so they have to be seniors, of course, because our story was that we were only juniors. All the developers was juniors, and we made so many mistakes, so it was practically learning by doing, making mistakes and then fixing things. And it took so much longer time than if we had seniors there advising what to do and what not to do. So, but the balance, I don't know, half, maybe it's good. There have to be also juniors, because it's good to educate juniors to become seniors. So company only with seniors, it's possible, but I really recommend that there are also juniors, like a healthy mix of juniors. And of course, juniors are also good because they are younger generation. They have different kind of attitude, different kind of opinions. And I can say that, for example, one good example is our junior guy in support. He's 19 years old, and he's an eager FPS and shooter game player. So practically he is same age and talks same language as our customers. So our developers are already older than him, so practically they really don't understand always the, let's say, call it jonnes.
Yeah, like the slang. Arja, if you...
Yeah, I like what you say, because like you mentioned, like worth healthy. I see companies that are only like hiring so-called seniors. And sometimes it feels like that is this company loaded with practically pensioners, because like if you do not push like younger people or like mid-level people to the organization, how do you get anything new there? And also like it is the industry's responsibility to bring new people in. Otherwise, we are in a very deep shit here. If there is no new blood, if there are no new people, if no new ideas and so forth, it is very important that every company takes the is responsible and hires also juniors to their ranks. And one of my dear startup founders, he said that, hey, I've seen like completely like companies found by true rookies, and they've done beautiful things. So I don't think it's not about the age or like length of experience. It's also about the passion, and sometimes you just like happen to be in the right spot, the right time.
Yes, I fully agree with both of you. I just wanted to add that there is definitely lack of seniors in Finland when it comes, because it's like, and most of it is again concentrated in Helsinki. We have a huge problem outside of Helsinki, especially because there is like no one really. I mean, all the jobs are also available here, like most of and all the talent is attracted to the capital, which is natural. There is no problem there. But just imagine now also what issues other cities have when it comes to, you know, industry development and so forth. But I'm happy to see, for example, that now the game hubs across Finland are doing exactly that, changing that culture when it comes to. So also startups are not just startups; they're becoming established entities, the companies that actually succeed, no matter what business model they're working on. So and it's happening now across Finland. So it's amazing. I love the stuff that you did in Kajaani with the academy and so forth. So this is the thing. Like, how do you get the juniors and youngers like already having students having hands-on in the industry is absolutely brilliant. So yeah, just saying that there is a huge problem there, and definitely we need more talent from abroad. But also supporting and getting from here, like this, as Arja said, juniors, get them trained and educated to become seniors that we need, we all need.
I would like, well, my point of view is obvious. More diverse is better, and it's not just because I say so, because there are studies showing that if you have a diverse company, that is actually affecting your business as well in a very positive way. So it's not just me saying, it's the studies saying. And diverse, I mean people from different backgrounds, juniors, seniors, people with different skills. So yes, we should have a healthy mix of every kind of people in every company.
I continue. Yeah, so over 60% of our employees are graduated or studied at Kajaani University. They have started as a junior, so just right from the school, working at our companies, and we have seen so great growth in the company. So they have growth in 1 year from a junior to a senior level. And the most important thing is that they are eager to learn, they are motivated, they are fast to learn new things, and also they are brilliant. So that's a success story with the juniors. How you just right kind of juniors who are very, very motivated to be in the industry and learn a lot, and they will do it, and they will become great employees in a very short time.
Yeah, about the diversity, how can we attract more diversity to game industry? How can we do it?
Well, obviously it is a lot about how we advertise when we are recruiting. We should not put out recruitment ads saying like we are searching for Mikko, because, you know, most of us are not Mikkos here, so unfortunately. Yeah, that's a classic. I'm not the good one. We are trying to, Women in Games Finland is trying to create an attitude that we welcome everyone. And I think that is also what IGDA is doing. So that's how we are supporting that diversity in games. But all the companies also should see the effort and should see the benefits to hire diverse people.
Still one story.
Yes.
So one of the best recruits we have had lately was a young guy who started to study at Kajaani University, and we hired him after the first year already. Of course, he has been programming before coming to the university. So he started to program when he was 6 years old. So he's father was teaching him, because father was in the software industry, or is in the software industry. But so brilliant guy and so good programmer already in the age of 20 years. So that was a great story. And he's still working us and happy with us.
Thank you.
May I
Yes,
give
sure,
a
of course.
comment? In Finland still we have mostly smaller companies, most of them. So because when you think about, again, outside of Helsinki, because bigger companies, they have their systems set. Like there is HR, there is the whole system of recruitment and so forth. But when you think about smaller teams, they're mostly a bunch of friends got together, or however they got to, again, together to make games and become a company, become a team. They're usually also not so open in a sense for diversity and for this sort of having completely, even with interns, if intern is somehow not in the line with their whatever types of attitudes they may be in the house and so forth. But it's about building the company culture, and from very early stage. And I think all of these lists that we had there when it comes to mentorship, when it comes to all of that, is exactly that. Promote also from the students, from the studies time, that be open to collaborate, because when you end up even in a big company, you don't know who your colleagues are. You have to, again, like this is learning to be with each other outside of your safe bubble of your few friends that are very stick to. So that would be one thing to actually, like have also more of this topic in the recruitment, in the education, in the mentor programs and all of that.
Yeah, still want to continue. So in Kajaani we have so-called system like työn opinnollistaminen. It means that students can pass the courses by working in the game company. So they don't need to go to the courses. If they work in the company, they get credits. And that has worked very well.
Thank you for sharing this. Actually, another question also about, diversity. It's about foreigners and how foreigners bring more expertise, and the amount of foreigners is raising every year. Why do you think they choose Finland? And how to make sure Finland will keep itself and attracting more foreigners?
That is a good question. We hope people are choosing Finland because we are nice, safe, educated country where your family is having a good time, like with the family it's nice to live. Obviously, we also need to promote the idea that in Finland we have really high-class gaming studios and you can do your career here. It's not just that you fly for one company, but we have plenty of good companies here, so you have all the opportunities. Or you want to put up your own company, that is also possible here.
Yeah, so we hired developers from South Korea, and I asked, how come do you come to Finland? And there were practically 3 reasons. They said, first was cleanness of the air, because it's very bad air pollution in Korea and time to time. Second was very stressful educating system for the kids in Korea, so they really appreciated Finnish education system where kids don't have that kind of huge stress that is driving them to suicide, so it's much more relaxed and different kind of education here for the pupils and students, and still they become as good as they are. And of course, that time there was also some kind of threat from North Korea, so that was the third reason.
Yeah, so because I can't see anything from these lights, do we have Vesa here? Vesa Raudose.
I saw him. Yeah, he's somewhere.
Where are you, Vesa?
He's hiding.
Back. Okay, excellent. Okay, I can see the woo, Vesa. Yes. All right. No, just you will realize why I'm pointing at you. Okay. Besides the already mentioned, yes, Finland is a great place to be. But in practice, Cheers. In practice, also what we have seen, especially from IGDA side and discussions with the community, is that people who come here to work, they end up being, and not just people who work, but also exchange students or coming here to study, would just be very alone, very isolated, because they would just go to work, only know these people who are there, maybe come to IGDA if they even know about it, do this sort of, and then go home, and then go back to work and go home or whatever this thing. So it's like, it can be very isolating experience, even that one thinks that things are so good in Finland and we are so open. Yes, we are. But what we as IGDA, simply as we, community comes above all. That's what we stand for, especially here in Finland. And Vesa is actually going to have IGDA Welcome to Finland program, which is focusing on the foreigners and who are coming here for career, like you're here working, how do you actually get to know others and so on, not just your co-workers that not necessarily you have anything in common really with, to be honest. So this is something that Vesa can of course tell more later on, but just saying that we are very aware of the other side of the issues because they are actual issues of inclusiveness and so forth.
And maybe it's also that Finland chooses you to come to Finland. So one of the most frequent reasons to come to Finland is blue eyes and blonde hair. Yes. Or some sort of other way around also, like marriage or spouse, whatever. But then, of course, like Finland has its limitations. Of course, all of us who are here, or like foreign people that are here, so there must be a reason. But I was just like talking to a customer today, huge brand, like among 100 biggest in the world, and they were located in Austria. And we have the same problem. We are both looking. I've been looking for this user acquisition specialists, and they say that they have the same problem. People want to work for them, but they don't want to move to Austria. And I say that, hey, I have also customers to which some of the specialists want to work for, basically, but I do not want to move to Finland because I have an impression that it's cold, or it is this or that. Great idea, great concept, but yeah, this or that. But once you get here, once you get to know the community, you are like, hey, this is a really nice place to be. And actually, I have like one of my former colleagues who is originally Mexican. He said that despite of the occasional cold weather, this is a really nice place to live. And he lists all these family issues and all this and that. So, but you need to get used to the weather.
Yeah, so we cannot do anything. We have harsh winter and harsh taxes, but quality of life is pretty good. And I met once a guy from Brazil who was studying in Rovaniemi, and he said that, I love this coldness. It's so hot in Brazil.
Yeah. I also met like this Greek climate refugee who hated weather of Athens so much that he moved to Finland. And he even speaks brilliant Finnish.
Yeah. And another thing is that when I meet foreign people, I always ask, how come did you come to Finland? What was the reason? And mostly the male said that I have a girlfriend or a Finnish wife or whatever, so we moved to Finland because she wanted. So that's our secret weapon, practically, Finnish women.
Yeah, that's so true. So it's so funny. Yeah, but you were tricked here somehow.
But yeah, we asked the audience that what are the biggest challenges, and we got 44 different answers, which is, I don't know, sad. We have lots of challenges, but we have to win the challenges, right? And thank you for answering. This is amazing. But the next question that we're going to ask is, of course, what are the benefits? So now be positive, find some benefits, and if you have anything to say about the challenges, you can do it.
I agree. I've been teaching in Metropolia, for example, and I do agree about the challenges. We should make game companies more close with the education. And that is one of the big challenges we've been discussing with the teachers, and I hope we could find some ways to tackle that.
Yes, and we actually hope that maybe through this panel we can kind of, have some awareness and change the situation. And my next question would be about mentoring programs. And also this question is, of course, targeted to you, Taina, and also to Arja and Natasha. What is currently available for young professionals who want to start their career in the industry?
No, let's say that, so like what is available for the young profession that want to, no. Yeah, no, of course, like internships and such, but like we have actually in many cities all kinds of these transitional training programs that are kind of like very good to go if you are like freshmen from school and you do not have actually that like experience yet. I know, for example, Oulu is bringing in new talent through these training programs. No, I've been like part of Game Pro many times and so forth, so that's one of the areas. And then, so like get a traineeship and working for free. So like you can start, and at least like in Finnish polytechnics, one of the beauty of it is that like during winters when you need the traineeship, 2 to 4 months stint, you will get also the support from the school. So, and when I was running like gaming company HR, for those that came for summer, we paid some salary, and those that came for winter, they got the small like scholarships from school, and it was going around like that very nicely. We had maybe like from 8 to 10 trainees all through the year, all the time.
Yeah, so one come in my mind, in Kajaani there's every summer like a game development summer school for 2 months where students get also credits and they get this summertime student support. So that's one way. But I would say that best thing is just that do it by yourself. Learn by yourself. It's much better way than relating fully in a given education. You have to have the motivation to make things by yourself.
Okay. Definitely summer schools or winter school, whatever these sort of programs. Turku Game Lab as IMCO and University of Turku, and also with Åbo Academy, since we have 3 universities, like there are all these programs that one can do. But on behalf of, again, IGDA, community comes, again, above all of that, because you have to get to know people and people to know you. And attending events such as this, for example, which is all free, and also through IGDA we get also all sorts of support for students to attend conferences, and even IGDA Foundation has literally stipends to send students to GDC, all paid, all that. So there's a lot of opportunities out there, but you just have to be active and be here like you guys are. So that's the main thing, that and motivating students, for example, to get active in the sense that just attend, come. It's all here for you. We set it up all there. It's free. Now with Pocket Gamer, I mean, we have free buses also from the cities. Which conference supports that? I mean, that's absolutely brilliant. So we get, they get free tickets, they get free ride, and then students don't apply, which is like, what? So this is like, getting them to actually be aware of the benefits that they can actually get out of there, and definitely being part of the following what's happening. Game jams are amazing places also to be, but that's a different topic. How to?
Can I?
Yep.
Yes. We do have a mentorship programs as well. IGDA is doing them. Women in Games Finland is doing them. So just apply. I think mentoring is good for everyone. Even I would like to apply to be have a mentor for myself.
And I would like to mention also there's every year assembly demo competition and game development competition. Take part in that, make a game or make a demo there. That's a great experience to learn new things.
And yeah, and last June I was happy to meet one English guy. He was a freshman from gaming school from UK, and he came to Finland just to explore what is going on. And he was introduced to me by a guy who is son of my friend, who is like this computer guy all the time playing games. And so these guys had never met. But this young guy, like, who knew me already, he said to this British guy that, hey, go to talk to Arja, maybe she can help you out, get you some ideas how to get started. And then I asked, like, haven't you even met this person who recommended you to me, so that, like, how do you communicate? It's like, we've been always playing online, we've been doing these games together, so there was a circle of these people that had never actually met. And then it sounded like a very exciting moment when they met in Helsinki somewhere, that how do I recognize you, because they had all their avatars and everything. But I've seen people coming from deepest forests that had like huge network that they had created, and like it was like 50 kilometers to the nearest town practically, or like 1,000 kilometers in between. But get friends, come here, and start doing things together.
Yeah, we all know that Finland is quite a long country, but what is the best way to develop our game community? How we do it? What is the best way to do it?
This is one, and then like people are doing actually so many things online, like collaborating and gaming and so forth. So you can't basically never be alone when you are a gamer. But it's also important, come out of your dungeon and meet face to face sometime.
Yep, I fully agree.
Yeah, now we're almost in the end of this panel talk, and it's maybe soon time to hear some success stories. And now hey, come on. We had 44 challenges and 43 benefits. Someone put at least one benefit we have. Oh, two, yeah. Because this is our final slide, our final question that we have here. Someone? Anyone? No. No benefits. But yeah, but these are really good that you have put there. Thank you about that.
Oh, we have 44.
Yay, thank you. But yeah, just thank you. Just we did it. Yeah, just final question before the success stories. Where do we go from here? What happens next? Easy one.
Easy one.
Easy one. Who knows?
Next bar. But what is the contest? Do you mean games industry or games education?
This education and everything. Oh yeah, that's not really easy.
I can say something. I think our industry is moving all the time, and that is the hard thing to tackle mentally, because everything is moving all the time. So that is for sure. We are having constant movement. We don't know what is going to be after 1 year. And that is something you have to get used to it when you are in this industry.
Fully agree. And just to add, that's why it's even more important that we stick together and collaborate, no matter of the backgrounds and so on. Again, so this is like, no matter what institutions are around, or associations, as we all have, and so on, companies, education, we must work together to make it a better place. And that's the whole thing. And it's, at least in Finland, it's doing really well. And we are making it even stronger each day. So just saying, this would be a thing to focus on, definitely.
Yeah, on the game industry side, amount of employees is growing all the time. So I think it's already over 3,000 in Finland. We will see more success stories. So like seriously and small giant games made lately. But also starting a new business is harder than ever. Getting also investment of money is very hard for startups. So hopefully there will happen something that there will be more angel investors from those game companies who have made exit. Of course, they have some kind of limitations and rules made by the acquirers, but hopefully later they can also start to invest in Finnish game companies. And yeah, I hope, really hope that there will be this year or next year more like a nice exits, hopefully, or big investments coming. Let's see.
Thank you very much. And just to end this panel discussion in a good mood and happy note, maybe you can share with us some success stories. And I know Arja has some for us.
Okay, I can start. I have so many success stories all through my career, but I always get happy if I'm able to use my network. I've been in the industry since 2004, and damn, I know people quite a bit. And today I was so pleased that I got a message in LinkedIn. It is actually a former, actually it's a current student of Kajaani. And maybe a year ago, he sent me a message, approached me. I have never ever seen this person, but I thought, okay, Kajaani student. And he asked me that, hey, I have this first traineeship. I think he was somewhere in Hong Kong or somewhere in Asia. I was like, hey, good effort. You are somewhere now, doing your traineeship. And he asked me that, hey, next year I would need another stint somewhere. So maybe somebody told me that you might actually know some people. Yeah. So, what do you want to do? No, of course, he would like to get the traineeship, and I said, probably, do you have some support? Because necessarily they do not pay if you are a total rookie. So, yeah, he has some support from school. And then I sent one message to my former colleague to US, another one to Canada, and the third one to Portugal. And today he sent fantastic. Now he's sitting at the airport going to Portugal because he got the traineeship of his dreams of a person who has done a fabulous career. And I was so happy that I just matched these people just like that. And then this young guy can start his career in a very good team. And of course he had done already quite a bit to to do the baseline. But I said that, hey, if you have a chance to continue, be loyal, stay there for a couple of years, do your best, learn, and then if you feel that you want to move forward, do it, but do it for the right reasons. So let's hope that he will get his degree eventually. But this kind of happy moments come almost weekly.
Yeah, so I have seen also success stories, actually many success stories, talented students who have become game industry professionals. So there's so many that, for example, one example is that the young team we had 2011 in Kajaani making the first mobile game for Supercell. So some of the guys moved to the Supercell office and continued making those successful games like Clash of Clans and Clash Royale Boom Beach. And they're still working there. And also really nice career paths in Ubisoft, for example. So we have lots of, I would say that there are Kajaani University alumni in every significant game company in Finland. So many success stories. So if we talk about students and education.
Yeah, when it comes to companies, especially when it comes to big exits and so on, those are always the things that come to the news and that we are all aware of, and it's there. Yes, it's amazing. Awesome job. But I must say, one of the things now when I started thinking that, yeah, of course there is, Supercell, seriously, Rovio, all of the companies. But again, I think one of the biggest successes is that we are all actually here, and as an industry, how we are as a Finnish gaming industry developing forward by having actually, let's say, we have now union for the game developers. We have all this work about diversity. We have all this stuff outside, which is basically a privilege when you think about it, because some countries are fighting for the basic human rights when it comes to, not just being in the gaming industry. So I would say we, as gaming industry community here in Finland, IGDA, Women in Games, and so forth, is one big success story, I must say.
Yes.
That is so good speech.
Yes. And maybe we could have a round of applause for this. Yes.
Can I just continue
Yes,
for a short one? For me, it's always like seeing the companies that were almost collapsing and then rising because they made a new game. Seeing that people are coming back to the industry and seeing that, well, we make mistakes, and then you start over. And that is the success story I would like to point. But Natasha's was a better one.
Thank you, both of you and all of you. So now it's time to finalize our panel. Thank you. You were amazing. And you audience, you were amazing.